My cousin stole my son's surgery money. He'll be fine, kids heal fast. She smiled, booking a trip to Europe, but 5 days later, she regretted it. Before we begin the story, take a moment to support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Your support means the world to our channel and helps us spread more shocking true stories to light. Now, let's get started. Hey, Reddit. Never in a million years did I think I'd be posting here about my own family. But here I am, typing this out at 2 a.m. while my world falls apart. I feel like I'm living in a nightmare, and I have no idea what to do. A little about me. I'm Emma, 35, a single mom to the most amazing kid on the planet. Noah, my 7-year-old son. He was born with a congenital heart defect, and he's needed surgery for years. It's not an immediate life or death situation, but it severely limits what he can do. He gets exhausted just climbing stairs, turns blue when he plays too hard, and has to sit out during gym class while the other kids run and laugh. The surgery would change everything. It would give him a chance at a normal childhood, something most parents take for granted. I've worked myself to the bone for this. As a nurse, I've taken every extra shift, every holiday, every weekend, anything to scrape together the $188,000 needed to cover the surgery. Do you have any idea how many bedpans you have to empty to save that kind of money? How many birthdays, Christmases, and bedtime stories you have to miss? But I did it. Every spare dollar went straight into that account. I made sure of it. Now, here's some backstory that makes this whole thing even worse. I got divorced 3 years ago while I was 7 months pregnant. I found texts on my husband Mark's phone, messages that left no doubt he was cheating. When I confronted him, he just shrugged and said, "It happens." He wouldn't even tell me who she was, just that it was complicated and someone I knew. That was the moment I realized the man I married had no soul. I kicked him out that night, had Noah alone, and filed for divorce. Mark? Yeah, he's been an absolute joke of a father. He pays child support when he remembers, which is almost never, and only sees Noah when it's convenient for him. My family, instead of rallying around me, acted like I was the failure. Poor Emma, they'd say, couldn't keep her marriage together. Meanwhile, the woman he cheated with got to keep her reputation spotless while I was stuck with the pitying looks at every family gathering. Now let's talk about my older sister, Vanessa. Vanessa has always been the golden child. She got the college fund while I got life experience. Her wedding cost more than my house, and she lives in the kind of picture-perfect suburb where the sidewalks are lined with cherry blossoms and every driveway has a Tesla in it. She's a pediatrician married to Ryan, a finance bro who treats stocks like a religion. Together, they have their perfect little family, and my parents practically worship the ground she walks on. And then there's my cousin Mia. Mia moved in with Vanessa about 6 months ago after a nasty breakup. She was down on her luck, and I felt bad for her. She started hanging around my place a lot, playing with Noah, bringing him little dollar store toys. She asked me about his surgery all the time, when it was scheduled, which hospital, how much it cost. She seemed so concerned, so invested. And I remember thinking, wow, at least someone in this family actually cares about Noah. I was so wrong. Because last Friday, my entire world came crashing down. $188,000, gone in an instant. Last Friday, I was at work when my phone buzzed with a notification from my bank. Unusual activity detected. My stomach twisted as I opened the app, my fingers suddenly ice cold. The second I saw the account balance, my breath caught in my throat. $0. The surgery fund, every single penny, was gone. My hand started shaking so badly that I spilled coffee all over my scrubs. I blinked, thinking maybe I was just exhausted. Maybe it was a glitch. Maybe my brain was playing tricks on me. But as I scrolled through the transaction history, the truth hit me like a freight train. There were multiple transfers over the past week, each one draining more and more from the account. Some were small at first, $500, then $1,000, just enough to fly under the radar. But then, the last withdrawal? $56,000. Gone. I felt like the ground had been ripped out from under me. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. I called the bank immediately, praying this was some kind of horrible mistake. Maybe there was a hack, a fraud case, anything but what I was starting to suspect. The customer service rep was calm, too calm. She told me the transactions had been made from my home Wi-Fi, from my laptop. I barely heard the rest of what she said. My mind was racing, spiraling, trying to make sense of the impossible. I never share my passwords. I never save them anywhere. I never access my accounts from public networks. So how? How? I forced myself to think. Who even knew about the surgery fund? It had to be someone close. Someone who knew exactly how much was in there. Someone who had access to my house. And then, like a puzzle snapping into place, it hit me. Mia, who had been in my home constantly for months. Mia, who was always asking about the surgery. Mia, who seemed so interested in the details. My stomach churned. Had she been fishing for information this entire time? I called her, straight to voicemail. Texted, no response. Then, with a sinking feeling, I opened Instagram. And that's when I saw it. The most recent post, uploaded just 30 minutes ago. Dubai bound. Airplane first class upgrade because I deserve it. Hashtag treat yourself. There she was, in an airport lounge, drink in hand, grinning like she didn't just steal my son's future. I scrolled down, my hands trembling. The next photo? A glass of champagne. Then another post. Living my best life. Desert Island, gemstone sparkles. A luxury resort. Shopping bags. Fine dining. She had stolen $188,000 from me, and she was spending it in Dubai. I could barely breathe. My pulse pounded in my skull. This wasn't just some impulsive mistake. This was planned. I needed proof. I needed confirmation. So I did the only thing I could think of. I called Vanessa. Her voice was calm, too calm, like she had already been expecting me to call. Mia mentioned she was going on a trip, but I thought she'd been saving up for it. There was something off about the way she said it. She used my laptop sometimes to job hunt, you know. Job hunt? Mia had been unemployed for months, crashing on Vanessa's couch. Where the hell would she get the money for a first-class trip to Dubai? My hands clenched into fists. It had to be my money. No, Noah's money. And then, later that night, my neighbor Tina came over. She had seen me rush home from work, tears streaming down my face. When I told her what happened, her expression changed. She hesitated, then said, Emma, I wasn't going to say anything because I thought they were your guests, but I've seen Vanessa's car at your house. A lot. At weird times. My skin prickled. What? Are you sure? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. I'm positive. That white Audi SUV with the My Child is an honor student bumper sticker. It was there last Tuesday while you were on a night shift. And Thursday afternoon, too. My stomach dropped. The same days the largest transfers had been made. I suddenly couldn't breathe. Because Vanessa had a key to my house. And now I was starting to think she had been in on it all along. My sister knew. She had to know. I barely slept that night. My mind kept replaying Tina's words. Vanessa's car was at my house. On the exact days my account was drained. I wanted to believe it was a coincidence. That maybe Mia had stolen the money on her own. That Vanessa, the sister I'd known my whole life, the woman who claimed to love Noah, would never do something like this. But deep down, I already knew the truth. I needed proof. So, the next morning, I did something desperate. I called my internet provider. Hi, I need to check my Wi-Fi connection history. The guy on the other end was polite, but firm. Sorry, ma'am. We don't usually provide that information without a police report. My voice cracked. Please. My son's heart surgery money was stolen. It's all gone. I need to know who was in my house. I don't know if it was my shaking voice or the sheer desperation in my words, but after a long pause, he put me on hold. A few minutes later, an email landed in my inbox. Connection history. I opened it with trembling hands. And there it was. 2 devices had connected to my Wi-Fi at the exact times the money was transferred. Mia's iPhone. Vanessa's MacBook. I felt like I was going to be sick. Vanessa wasn't just covering for Mia. She was involved. That's when I thought of something else. I called Noah's school. Hi, I just need to verify something. Has anyone besides me picked up Noah recently? The secretary's voice was cheerful. Yes, your sister Vanessa picked him up twice last week. Tuesday and Thursday. You sent a note, remember? My blood ran cold. I never sent a note. I gripped the phone tighter. Did she show ID? Oh, we didn't ask. We know Vanessa. She's family. I hung up without another word. She had forged my name. She had taken my son out of school without my knowledge. And while he was at home, watching cartoons, trusting that his aunt was there to keep him safe, she was in my office, on my laptop, draining his surgery fund. I jumped in my car and drove straight to my bank. I slammed the printed logs on the desk of the branch manager, my voice barely controlled. My sister and cousin stole $188,000 from me. Here's proof they were in my house when the money was transferred. Here's proof they had access to my laptop. Here's proof my signature was forged at my son's school. You tell me, how does that look? He rubbed his temples and sighed. I'll flag the account. We'll open a fraud investigation. But I need to be honest with you. This could take weeks. Maybe months. I didn't have weeks. Noah's surgery was scheduled for next month. And right now, it wasn't happening. My hands clenched into fists. If the bank wouldn't fix this fast enough, I would. I pulled out my phone and called Mia. Straight to voicemail. I texted her. Nothing. So, I opened WhatsApp. And that's when I saw she was online. I typed so fast my fingers hurt. Me. I know you stole from me. I have proof. You have 24 hours to send the money back, or I'm calling the police. A few minutes later, she responded. And when I read her message, I saw red. Mia. OMG. Emma. Stop being so dramatic. It's not like Noah is dying or anything. Kids heal fast. Besides, I really needed this trip after everything I've been through. You know, self-care and all that. I'll pay you back eventually. Family helps family, right? Winking face. Self-care. Self-care. My son was losing his chance to have a normal life. And she was talking about self-care? I took a deep breath, my whole body trembling. Fine. If Mia and Vanessa want to play dirty, I'd play dirtier. I forwarded the Wi-Fi logs, bank statements, and school records to Vanessa. Me. Your house guest stole Noah's surgery fund. I have proof. Either you help me get it back, or I'm going to the police. Vanessa called within seconds. Her voice was eerily calm. Emma, this is a misunderstanding. I nearly laughed. A misunderstanding? She stole $188,000. Vanessa sighed. Mia mentioned borrowing some money from you, but I had no idea it was that much. Let's just talk about this in person when she gets back. Borrowing. My stomach twisted. She knew. She had to know. Because instead of being outraged, instead of being furious that Mia had stolen from her own nephew, Vanessa was more concerned about keeping this quiet. This is a family matter, she whispered. We don't need the police involved. Think about how this would look to Mom and Dad. And just like that, everything clicked into place. Vanessa wasn't protecting Mia. She was protecting herself. But why? Why would she help Mia steal from Noah? Something was missing. Something big. And I was going to find out what. The truth about Vanessa and my ex. I couldn't stop thinking about it. Vanessa was a pediatrician, a doctor who spent her life helping sick kids. There was no way she would willingly steal the money that could save her own nephew's heart. Unless someone had something on her. And then I remembered something Mia said in that smug, disgusting message. Family helps family, right? It was the way she said it. Like she knew Vanessa would cover for her. Like Vanessa had no choice. What was Mia holding over her? That night, after putting Noah to bed, I grabbed my laptop and started digging. Emails, old texts, bank statements, anything that could give me answers. I wasn't sure what I was looking for until I found an old email buried deep in my inbox. A hotel booking confirmation. It had been forwarded from my ex-husband Mark's email to mine. I almost ignored it, but then I saw the date. 3 years ago. Exactly 1 week before I caught him cheating. My fingers tightened around the mouse. My ex never took me to any fancy hotel. I was 7 months pregnant when this was booked. I was exhausted, swollen, and barely able to move. So why was there a reservation under his name? I called the hotel on a hunch. Hi, I'm trying to confirm an old reservation under Mark or Emma Carter. The receptionist tapped on her keyboard. Yes, Mr. Carter stayed with us for 2 nights. Would you like the full folio? My heart pounded. Were there any additional guests? There was a pause. I'm sorry, we don't keep that information for that long. But the room service bill shows charges for 2 people. I stopped breathing. Breakfast, dinner, several bottles of champagne. It wasn't just some random fling. This was a romantic getaway. With someone I knew. I barely heard the receptionist's polite goodbye as I ended the call. My mind was spinning, my vision blurring with rage. Mark had refused to tell me who he cheated with. Because it wasn't some random woman. It was someone who should have protected me. Someone who should have loved me. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. There had to be more. Then I remembered something. Mark had an old iPad he left behind when he moved out. I had thrown it into a closet, not wanting any reminders of him. I ripped through my things until I found it. I plugged it in. The screen lit up. No password. He never thought I'd find it. I opened the Photos app, and there it was. Picture after picture of Mark in that hotel room. And in every single one of them, wrapped around him, smiling like she hadn't just destroyed my life, was Vanessa, my sister. I dropped the iPad. My hands flew to my mouth as I fought the urge to throw up. The woman Mark cheated with, the one who stayed silent while I was pregnant, the one who watched me sob in the delivery room, the one who let me be humiliated by our entire family, had been my own sister. My stomach churned with rage, my hands shaking as I clutched the edge of the desk. I finally understood. Mia had found these photos. She was blackmailing Vanessa. That's why Vanessa helped her. Not because she wanted to, because she had no choice. But you know what? I didn't care. Because Vanessa had a choice 3 years ago. She had a choice when she crawled into bed with my husband. She had a choice when she stole my son's surgery fund. And now, she was going to face the consequences. I grabbed my phone, called Vanessa. She picked up on the first ring. Emma. I cut her off. You helped Mia steal from me because she was blackmailing you, wasn't she? Dead silence. Then a choked breath. Emma, please. Was it because of Mark? Her gasp was all the confirmation I needed. My voice was cold. Empty. You slept with my husband. While I was pregnant. She didn't deny it. She just started crying. Emma, I swear it was a mistake. A mistake. I laughed bitterly. How many times, Vanessa? Once? Twice? Or did it last for months? More silence. She had no excuse. You stole from Noah to protect your own dirty secret. I didn't know Mia would take everything, she sobbed. She said she just needed enough for a trip to clear her head. She promised she'd pay it back before you even noticed. I laughed again, but this time it came out as a broken sob. And you believed her? A jobless freeloader who suddenly needed a luxury vacation. I heard her shaky breath. Emma, I was terrified. If James found out. James, her husband, the one she cheated on, the one who thought she was perfect. Now, everything was falling apart for her. And for the first time in years, I felt nothing but satisfaction. You should have thought about that before you betrayed me. She whimpered. Emma, please, if this gets out, I'll lose everything. I was silent for a long time. Then I exhaled. I'm done, Vanessa. Done covering for you. Done being the one who always loses so you can keep your perfect life. And then I hung up. She texted me all night. Please, I'm trying to reach Mia, but she's not answering. I'll take out a loan if I have to. Emma, please just talk to me. I ignored every single one because I wasn't interested in talking anymore. I was interested in revenge. I gathered every shred of evidence. The bank statements, the Wi-Fi logs, the fake school pickup notes, the social media posts of Mia blowing through my son's money. And, yes, the pictures of Vanessa and Mark. I wasn't just going to the police. I was going to burn their whole world to the ground. I went nuclear. The next morning, I walked into the police station. My hand was shaking, but not from fear, from rage. I wasn't here to beg. I wasn't here to reason. I was here to end this. A detective named Officer Delgado sat across from me, flipping through the stack of papers I had dropped onto his desk. Bank statements, Wi-Fi logs, fake school pickup notes, screenshots of Mia's luxury Dubai vacation. After a long pause, he looked up at me. You're telling me your cousin stole nearly $200,000 from you, and your own sister helped her? I nodded. And you have all of this evidence? I pushed a flash drive toward him. Every single detail. Bank transfers, timestamps, screenshots of Mia's messages admitting to it. He exhaled sharply. This is pretty damn clear-cut. Good, because I wasn't leaving without justice. Then I pulled out my final card, the pictures of Vanessa and Mark. He raised an eyebrow. What's this? I hesitated for half a second. Then I said the words that would destroy my sister's life. Mia was blackmailing Vanessa. This is why. His eyes flicked to the photos. Your sister had an affair with your husband? while I was 7 months pregnant. He muttered a curse under his breath. And Vanessa helped steal from you to keep this a secret? Exactly. He sighed, rubbing his temples. All right, we're opening a formal investigation. But I'll warn you now, because Mia is overseas, it might take time to bring her in. I didn't care. Because Vanessa? She was right here. The fallout begins. That evening, I sent everything to a select few people in my family. My Aunt Carol, the only one who had never worshipped Vanessa. My Uncle Robert, the one relative who always saw through Mia's lies. My grandparents, the only people in our family who still had a sense of right and wrong. I didn't say anything. No explanations. Just the evidence. And then I waited. It didn't take long. Because within hours, Vanessa called me. Her voice was shaking. Emma, what did you do? I leaned back against my couch, staring at the ceiling. I told the truth. Mom and Dad, they're freaking out. Oh, I bet they were. Vanessa had spent her whole life as the golden child, the one who did no wrong. And now, everyone knew what she really was. You destroyed me, she whispered. I smiled. No, Vanessa, you destroyed yourself. And then I hung up. Part 7. James learns the truth. That night, my phone buzzed with a call from James, Vanessa's husband. I hesitated. Then I answered. His voice was eerily calm. Emma, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest. I stayed silent. Did Vanessa really help Mia steal Noah's surgery money? I took a deep breath. Yes. A long pause. Why? My throat tightened. This was it. Because Mia found out about Vanessa and Mark. Dead silence. Then his voice, so quiet I almost didn't hear it. What? I swallowed. She had an affair with Mark. 3 years ago, when I was pregnant. A sharp intake of breath. How do you know? I sent him the photos. A minute later, he whispered, Jesus Christ. I'm sorry, James, I said softly. I have to go. He hung up. 2 hours later, I got a bank notification. $188,000 deposited into my account. My hands were shaking as I read the sender's name. James. I typed out a message. Me? James, why? A few minutes later, he responded. James, because Noah shouldn't have to suffer for their mistakes. And just like that, someone in this family finally did the right thing. Mia's arrest and the final blow to Vanessa. The next day, Mia landed back in the U.S. And guess what? The police were waiting. She was arrested at the gate. My aunt, who worked at the airport, said she screamed about how it was all a misunderstanding. She got released on bail, her parents paid, but she had strict orders not to leave the state. Oh, and the best part? The story hit the news. Local nurse's child surgery fund stolen for luxury Dubai vacation. They didn't name names, but everyone in our circle knew exactly who it was about. Vanessa loses everything. James? He moved out the same day, filed for divorce, took their kids, and went to stay with his parents. And the hospital Vanessa worked at? They did an ethics review. She lost everything. Her reputation, her husband, her home. She texted me, begging to see Noah before his surgery. I didn't even hesitate. Me no. Her messages kept coming. Please, Emma, just 5 minutes. I have a gift for him. I'm still his aunt. Finally, I responded. You should have thought about that before you helped steal his surgery money. And before you slept with my husband. Then, I blocked her number. The best revenge? Noah's recovery. Last week, Noah had his surgery. And you know what? It was a success. The surgeon said it went better than expected. For the first time in his entire life, Noah's heart is working the way it should. Yesterday, I took him to the park. For the first time ever, I watched him run across the playground. Without getting winded. Without turning blue. Without clutching his chest. I sat on that bench and sobbed. Some other mom probably thought I was crazy. I didn't care. Because this moment right here was the only thing that mattered. Not Vanessa. Not Mia. Not revenge. Just my son running and laughing like he never could before. Noah asked me yesterday if his heart was fixed forever. I told him, yes, buddy. Forever. Mine? It might take a little longer. But I'll get there. Because watching him thrive, that's the best medicine I could ever ask for. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe for more real-life family dramas. Let me know in the comments what you think about today's story. Was it fair or totally messed up? See you in the next one.